Hello ARMY, how is it even possible? How does Park Jimin walk into a place where masked wrestlers are flying through the air, thousands of people are screaming at the top of their lungs, and the entire arena is exploding with energy, and still become the one person nobody can stop looking at? Honestly, I still can't get over it. Because what happened when Jimin attended Arena Mexico to watch Lucha Libre was not supposed to happen. He wasn't on stage. He wasn't performing. He wasn't even trying to draw attention. And yet, the moment he appeared, the entire atmosphere shifted. It was subtle at first. A whisper moving through the crowd. One person turning around. Then another. A few phones lifting into the air. Faces changing. Eyes widening. And then suddenly, the realization spread like wildfire. Jimin is here. 3 simple words. That's all it took. And in an instant, the electricity inside Arena Mexico transformed into something even more intense. Because this wasn't just any celebrity walking into the arena. This was Jimin. The same Jimin who had just left ARMY in tears during the unforgettable stops of the BTS Arirang World Tour. The same Jimin whose emotional performances in Tampa and El Paso were still being replayed by fans over and over again. The same Jimin who had been welcomed with extraordinary love in Mexico City, including a visit to Palacio Nacional, where Claudia Scheinbaum personally greeted BTS. And now, instead of standing under stadium lights, he was just there. Sitting in the audience. Ready to enjoy the night like everyone else. And somehow, that made the moment even more powerful. Because there is something so moving about seeing Jimin outside of a performance. No choreography. No carefully timed lighting cues. No dramatic stage effects. Just Jimin. Relaxed. Curious. Completely present. The arena itself already felt like a movie. Music thundered through the speakers. Colored lights swept across thousands of excited faces. Fans waved signs. Masked wrestlers prepared backstage for their entrances. The crowd buzzed with anticipation. Everything was loud. Everything was dramatic. Everything felt larger than life. And then Jimin walked in. You guys. I swear the noise changed. The cheers became sharper. More emotional. More desperate. Like people weren't just reacting to seeing him. They were reacting to the feeling of seeing him. And honestly, if you've ever seen Jimin in person, even through a fan cam, you know exactly what I mean. There's something about his presence. It's soft, but powerful. Gentle, but impossible to ignore. He doesn't demand attention. He simply draws it. Naturally. Effortlessly. Like gravity. He made his way to his seat with that familiar elegance that makes even the simplest movement look cinematic. Nothing exaggerated. Nothing flashy. Just a calm smile. A small wave. A polite nod. And instantly, the arena erupted. Fans screamed. Phones shook in trembling hands. People stood up from their seats. Some laughed in disbelief. Others covered their mouths. A few were already crying. And Jimin? He looked adorably overwhelmed. That tiny smile appeared. The one that makes his eyes curve softly. The one that always looks like he can't quite believe how much love he's receiving. And honestly, that smile alone was enough to destroy ARMY. But that wasn't even the moment that shocked everyone. Because once the matches began, Jimin didn't sit there like a distant celebrity making a formal appearance. He became fully immersed in the experience. And that is what made this night so unforgettable. He leaned forward when the action intensified. He clapped enthusiastically after impressive moves. He laughed with genuine delight. His eyes widened in surprise. His entire face lit up with childlike excitement. You guys, it was the cutest thing ever. Because for a few hours, Jimin wasn't a global superstar carrying the weight of a world tour. He was simply someone having fun. Someone fascinated by the culture around him. someone fully present in the moment. And seeing him like that felt incredibly healing. After weeks of emotionally charged performances, non-stop travel, and overwhelming attention, watching Jimin relax and genuinely enjoy himself felt like a gift. And of course, the cameras noticed. At first, they focused on the ring. The dramatic entrances. The flying moves. The crowd reactions. Then suddenly, the giant screen cut to Jimin. For only a few seconds. That was all it took. The entire arena exploded. No, seriously. The noise was deafening. People jumped to their feet. Fans screamed as if they had just witnessed the most shocking moment of the night. And Jimin? He froze for a second. Then he laughed. That soft, shy laugh that always feels so genuine. He looked around in disbelief. Like he couldn't process why everyone was cheering so loudly for him. And then he smiled. A warm, grateful, almost bashful smile. You guys, that moment broke the internet. Within minutes, clips were everywhere. Fans replayed the footage over and over. Slow-motion edits appeared instantly. Comments flooded social media. Look at his smile. He's so shy. How is he this adorable? And honestly, every single reaction was valid. Because the emotion in that moment was impossible to fake. You could see how touched he was. How surprised. How genuinely grateful. And then came the gesture that always sends ARMY into emotional chaos. Jimin placed his hand over his heart. Such a small movement. So simple. And yet it carried so much emotion. Because whenever Jimin does that, it feels deeply sincere. Like he's saying, thank you. I feel your love. And the second he did it, the screams became even louder. Fans were crying. Actually crying. Because somehow, in that tiny gesture, he said everything. And just when you think the night couldn't become more surreal, the wrestlers themselves began acknowledging him. One pointed toward Jimin's section. Another raised his arm in his direction. The crowd roared. Jimin laughed and bowed his head slightly, looking both amused and deeply touched. Can you imagine what that must have felt like? A world-famous artist from South Korea sitting in one of Mexico's most iconic venues, being embraced not just by ARMY, but by an entire arena celebrating him in the middle of one of the country's most beloved traditions. That's bigger than a viral moment. That's connection. Real connection. Culture meeting culture. Respect meeting admiration. Love being expressed without needing translation. And that is what made the night so powerful. Throughout the event, the cameras kept returning to Jimin. Every single time, the reaction grew louder. A smile. Screams. A laugh. More screams. A surprised expression. Absolute chaos. And the best part. Jimin never looked like he expected any of it. He looked humbled. Touched. A little shy. And completely genuine. At one point, he was caught laughing so hard that he leaned back in his seat. At another, his eyes widened after an incredible move in the ring. He clapped enthusiastically. He exchanged amused looks with the people around him. And each tiny reaction became another cherished moment for fans. Because Jimin has this incredible ability to make ordinary moments feel extraordinary. Watching him enjoy something new. Seeing his curiosity. Feeling his gratitude. Those unscripted moments reveal something deeply human. And that's why they resonate so strongly. As the night continued, fans in the arena couldn't stop glancing toward him. Trying to catch one more smile. One more laugh. One more hand over heart gesture. One more wave. And Jimin continued responding with warmth. Always acknowledging the love surrounding him. Always making fans feel seen. Always reminding everyone why his presence feels so special. And maybe that's the real reason he became the center of attention. It wasn't because he was trying to stand out. It wasn't because he was performing. It was because his sincerity is magnetic. His joy is contagious. His gratitude is visible. And his presence makes people feel something. Something comforting. Something emotional. Something unforgettable. By the time the final matches were underway, one thing was undeniable. Yes, the Lucha Libre action was incredible. Yes, Arena Mexico delivered a spectacular night. But for many fans, the image they would remember most wasn't a wrestler soaring from the ropes. It was Jimin. Smiling. Laughing. Looking genuinely happy. And honestly, maybe that's why this moment touched so many people. Because in the middle of a demanding world tour, after emotional concerts and non-stop travel, we got to see Jimin simply enjoying life. Relaxed. Curious. Present. Happy. And when Jimin is happy, ARMY feels it too. As the event slowly began winding down, the energy in the arena shifted. The cheers softened. The lights dimmed slightly. But the emotional warmth of the night remained. Jimin stood up. He turned toward the crowd. And with that familiar gentleness, he offered one last smile and a soft wave. The arena erupted one more time. Phones lifted into the air. Fans screamed through tears. And Jimin, looking both shy and grateful, placed his hand over his heart once again. Simple. Silent. Devastating. And just like that, he disappeared from view. But the feeling he left behind lingered. Because some people don't need to step into the spotlight to become the brightest presence in the room. Some people create lifelong memories without saying a word. And Jimin does that effortlessly. That night at Arena Mexico wasn't just about Lucha Libre. It wasn't just about celebrity. It was about connection. The kind of connection that transcends language, borders, and culture. The kind of connection Jimin seems to create everywhere he goes. And long after the lights went out, long after the cheers faded into the Mexico night, fans were left with one beautiful realization. Jimin didn't need to perform to steal the show. He only needed to be there. And somehow, that was more than enough.